So I want to challenge that you don't always need a hair test to know if heavy metals are affecting your child on the spectrum. And the body often shows us very clear signs of heavy metal toxicity if you know what you're looking for. So heavy metals like mercury, lead, and arsenic are everywhere. They're actually naturally occurring things in our that are in our world. We used to come into contact with them in minimal amounts when they were part of the Earth's crust. But now with the innovations of humans and what we've done and changed chemical compounds and started to use a lot of these in our day-to-day living, our exposure to these has gone up quite a bit, and in many cases with no idea of the repercussions. And so for many autistic kids, the detox pathways are slower, so metals can easily accumulate and start affecting both the brain, the gut, and also the nervous system. So if metals are part of the problem, symptoms are often very specific, especially when they flare after certain exposures. So also, my name is Natalie Pelto. I am the co-founder of Blue Life RX, and I am the creator of the Blue Life Autism Program. I am a nutritional therapist that is multi-certified in over 8 different nutritional certifications, and I also am a parent to a child who used to have profound autism. And through some of the practices that I learned, both professionally and through personal experience, my son is now thriving, completely conversational, and has lost his diagnosis, is in mainstream school. So you can imagine why I am so passionate in helping other families get to the same outcome that we have gotten to. Okay, so now saying this, let's talk about the 5 common signs of heavy metal in toxicity and autism. So this is really this is going to have a little bit of aha moments for families. We always feel that testing is the most important thing, but actually symptoms tell us a lot. When we do our assessments in our program, one of the assessments is for heavy metal toxicity, and one of the symptoms is literally ADHD or autism, and it gives you a high score. We just know, because of large amounts of data collected, that most children with autism do have elevated amounts of mercury in the brain. So there is literally evidence, like we have the data for this. So some of the things to look for, or what you may have noticed, is if you've seen a regression after illness or exposure. So loss of skills, speech, eye contact, following medical procedures, vaccine, or environmental exposure. So I want you to not focus so much on the one thing that most families always blame. And it's not that I would ever blind or I forget what the word that I'm looking for is, tell a family that they're not validated in sharing that they saw a huge experience in going, let's just say, to a well visit, but that there usually is a reason why the child was not able to overcome having such a procedure done. And so the focus is to note that we can actually have exposures from heavy metals from many different areas. So knowing that's number one, that these, but they are regressions after illness or exposures to these things. What we notice as well is that if there is a huge illness like COVID or even RSV, some of our kids that come into the program very young, the regression had nothing to do with any other type of heavy metal exposure that they knew of, except for there was potentially metal in the water, right? If you live in New York and New Jersey, there is actually high levels of certain minerals in the water that are higher than other places. So we have to look at those things too. But huge regressions can happen there. If the body is not able to fight off or is overburdened with a toxic material, the immune system also shuts down. Number 2 is neurological symptoms, specifically tremors, unusual muscle tone clumsiness, or an unsteady gait. This was like my son quite a bit. He was always bumping into things, and I noticed this right away, is that he just didn't seem to have a really good awareness of his surroundings, and he didn't. He was an eloper. And for many families, I know that this is very common for all of you. So I want you to feel validated that if you notice that your child seems that like their equilibrium is a little affected, it could be a sign of heavy metal toxicity. Number 3 is extreme sensory reactions. Same with the overburdened liver, a toxin will really impact the nervous system, which means that light, sound, touch sensitivity, it can worsen unpredictably, especially through like a recent exposure. And when we think about recent exposures, they can come in so many forms. So, for example, we can have exposures to heavy metals with certain cutlery, with certain if our pipes for water are made out of lead, so we are actually getting exposed to also some of these things are right. Oh, I just realized I'm probably hitting my mic. Some of these things are even on the clothes that we're wearing if we don't wash it prior, like antimony. And so, just knowing that these exposures are happening consistently everywhere is not something to be afraid of, but it is something to put a little bit more intention in our environment that we do and have control over. Number four is digestive disruptions, especially persistent constipation or diarrhea, not explained by diet alone, especially. So this is also falling into the area of when we do have heavy metals, they kind of create a pocket. They are also we know now that they attract things like parasitic activity. So, just by default, if we have high levels of heavy metals, we usually have a dysbiotic gut, which we know that most kids on the spectrum do. And then behavioral shifts look like sudden aggression, anxiety, self injury is often a big sign that all of a sudden seems to be a little out of the blue. So, looking at these things, if your child is suffering from any of these symptoms, if you wonder if it is the root cause, it never hurts to support the body's ability to rid itself of heavy metals in a natural way, basically using food. So when heavy metals are the hidden root cause, supporting safe detoxification through food, minerals, and gut repair, plus binders. And when I say binders, I don't mean like supplemental binders. I mean like food binders, such as like beans and lentils. These are actually known as wonderful binders for this, and they can bring a huge shift. So for parents, we've had families go literally from 0 words to celebrating their next birthday a few months later, after a very specific heavy metal detox, and being able to sing happy birthday, be aware of gifts and things that they were not even aware of at Christmas before. And so the changes are pretty profound when we do address specifically heavy metals in children who do have an overburdened system. One thing to note is that not all kids have excessive heavy metals. Autism is not just a heavy metal issue. For many kids that we have in our program, they have never received a vaccine in their life. They have never had any of these like massive exposures, and sometimes what we see is it's a nutritional deficiency that we're seeing, and or we're seeing latent motor skill development. So looking at all of the pieces is extremely important. No two children are the same. No two children have the same exposures. No two children are living the same lifestyle for the most part. So we have to look at it as a case by case. So if you are seeing these signs, I will offer that we, through food minerals, parents, we can often see a calmer child and focus and starting to re-engage socially, especially, and sometimes within just weeks. And in our case, this is what we see in our program. So if you are seeing these signs, I don't want you to have to guess or again spend $500 on heavy metal tests. Inside the Blue Life Autism Program, we teach you how to decipher symptoms. We do assessments, and then how to detox and support your child safely. So that the brain can focus for connection, learning, and joy again. So, if you are interested in learning more about that and how we support heavy metals, we actually we take a very lifestyle medicine preventative approach, which lifestyle medicine is the most evidence-based practice, which is a food first approach where physicians can be board certified in this. It is not a supplement program. It is finding and using what we have available to us and what is on the earth that we are meant to consume. It just reacts really well with our body, and it helps us to recover from these challenges. So if you're interested in learning about the Blue Life Autism Program, make sure to just comment below, or not comment below, but just click the link below. There is a web class. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's the 3 secrets to autism gains, and you want to make sure to check it out. If you like this video and you found it pretty informative, make sure to like and subscribe.